Hello, new agency owners. My name is Dylan, and I've personally worked with over 300 SMMA clients. And recently, I got the opportunity to start an agency from scratch. And in the first 24 hours, we booked an appointment. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys all the steps that we took in order to make that happen. Because selfishly, I know that if I give you all the sauce that you need in order to get to 5 to 15K a month, you may potentially want to partner with me then, which is where I make my money. So with that, let's get into it. So recently, I got the opportunity to go back into the trenches as a part of a bigger project and restart and start an agency from scratch. And we actually were able to get it off the ground and book an appointment within 24 hours. And what I wanted to do for you guys in this video is document and share the exact processes and steps that we used in order to make that happen. So quick backstory on me. So back in 2018, 2019, I was a hockey player. I was playing hockey, but I wasn't in love with life, we'll just say, okay? And at the same time, I was going to high school, which I really did not like. I knew, I hate being constrained to a box. I hate being told what to do. And through hockey, being always told what to do by the coach, and through high school, always being told to do by my teachers, it just left me, not feeling too hot about myself. But I toughed it out through high school and hockey, and eventually I found myself in university for this business school that I worked very hard to get into. And at the time, it was a little bit exciting on day one, but by day 3, I realized that this isn't where I wanted to be. And the final nail in the coffin was when the teacher asked, who wants to be an entrepreneur one day? And I raised my hand, and I was the only one with my hand up in the air. And that's kind of was when I was like, okay, so I had this little, online video editing and videography company on the side. I need to start going all in on this because I really am not happy with myself here in university. And that was when I made the decision to walk out of Simon Fraser University, which is the university I went to for the very last time. And here's a video of me doing that. And at this time, I felt a lot like you probably feel right now. I had no idea how I was going to grow my business. I had no idea what to do, but I knew that I was going to make it happen because in my case, at least, I had to make it happen, right? I spent 2 years taking classes and retaking the same classes in high school in order to get the grades required to be accepted into my business school. And now, just 3 months in, I was throwing everything I had worked so hard for out the window. My parents spent thousands on tutors for me so I could make it into this school. And now I was disappointing them by walking out those doors and making a joke about it while filming myself on Snapchat so I could send it into my boys' group chat. Anyways, I ended up making a promise to myself that I would make sure that they knew that I was not making a mistake because that was my internal driving factor. And I also made a promise to prove the world wrong and myself right. However, I was dumb. I didn't know much. I didn't know what I know now. And I was much too afraid to seek help in the form of mentorship and or coaching. And this fear ultimately caused me to make hundreds of avoidable mistakes, such as manually cold emailing every single business owner within a 20-mile radius and asking if I could work for free. I would spend my entire days in Gmail, right, where I could have automated this and got this done in 10 minutes a day, but I didn't know. I also tried to charge $100 retainers for Facebook ads. And I actually had prospects say no to me because of how cheap I was. And the ones that said yes, it was a nightmare trying to service them, okay? Another thing that I would do is I would spend $100+ on service delivery for free trial clients only to be ghosted because they didn't like the service. And one day, I even tried cold calling, and my call to action was asking if I could send them an email for more info. Now, if anybody has experience with cold calling, you know that the easiest way that people use to get out of cold calls is to say, just send me an email. And I was giving them that objection. I also tried running a Facebook ad claiming to be Vancouver's #1 marketing agency, which obviously didn't work because I was an 18, 19-year-old kid. And I have dozens of more examples, but you get the point. However, despite all this stupidity that went on, within a year, I was making about $5,000 a month with my agency. And by now, about 80% of new business was generated through my social media profile. So at this point, I finally made the first good decision with my agency, and I began to double down on what worked. And that 5K a month agency went to 8K a month. And at the time, I remember I could not believe this because originally when I was still in school, my goal was to make $50,000 a year by my 5th year in business because that was going to mark the time when all my friends were graduating. And I knew that, well, they're going to graduate. They're probably going to make around $50,000 a year when they graduate. So if I'm at $50,000 a year with my business, at least I'm not behind. And here I was 1 year in on track to do 100K, or so I thought, because my 8K a month agency spiked up to 13K a month. And from there, it was steady month over month growth until I hit 20K a month. And I ended up blowing my 100K goal out of the water, as you can see here, right? This was when the world beyond myself started to notice. And soon later, I ended up starting a second agency, and we hit our first over $20,000 a month in 5 weeks, which is great. But you could care less about me because you might not even have an agency yet, so $20,000 seems like a very distant goal. Well, I have good news. As I said earlier, as a part of a big project I am currently working on, I started an agency last week, March 26, 2023. I don't know why I typed that there, put 2023. And you can see here is how it is going. We are 1 week in. We just started. That's why in this video, I'm going to show you how we started a brand new SMMA in 24 hours and how you can too, what you need and don't need to get started, how to create your SMMA offer, and then how to book your first appointment. Now, disclaimer, I am just another SMMA guru who only posts these videos because I want your money. However, I don't want it yet. I personally partner with agencies who are doing $5,000 a month and beyond, and here's how I can help you get you there. First of all, we have our RSC First Client Challenge, which is a free with a little commitment required program that gets new SMMA owners their first client in 13.8 days. Right now, that's just the average. If the average changes, I'll let you guys know, but right now the average person is getting their first client in 13.8 days. The second thing that we're doing is the RSC Discord community, where I'm regularly in there. We have a free course in there. I help people out. Occasionally, we'll do free coaching calls as well, which are always a blast. But anyways, so what you need in order to get started with your SMMA. So here is your checklist. You need a phone and or a computer. You need a front-end offer, and you need an outreach framework. Now, what you do not need any of the following. You don't need money, right? Okay, when I say you don't need money, like you should always have money. Like some people come to me and they're like, oh, Dylan, I only have $50 in my bank account. If you only have $50, you shouldn't be starting a business. You should go and get a job or do some chores or mow some lawns. You need a little bit of money. You don't need money to start an SMMA, but you need money to just have money. Like that's just something that everybody should have, okay? Beyond that, you don't need an LLC, you don't need a logo, you don't need a website, and you don't need extensive knowledge. So stop educating yourself because you're too scared to get outside of your own comfort zone, okay? That might hurt a lot of you guys, right? There's a lot of people who spend a lot of time watching Alex Hormozi and Luke Belmar and all these people on social media because they're educating themselves, right? They're hustling, right? They're hustlers, right? They maybe even post Lambos on their Instagram stories telling the world that one day that they're going to make it. Well, while you're sitting there posting your Lambos on your Instagram story, there's other people out there doing outreach that are actually making it, right? It's easy to read books. It's easy to watch YouTube. It's easy to listen to podcasts. But it's hard to actually take the action. And that's why Andrew Tate has millions and millions of viewers, but only a fraction of them actually take action on what he says. Okay, so here are the first steps in order to get things off the ground, right? We need to choose a niche, we need to create a front-end offer, and then we need to start doing our outreach. So first of all, what is a niche? Well, a niche is a specialized segment of the market for a particular kind of product or service. That's according to the dictionary. A real niche, like an example of a niche, is a gym, a med spa, chiropractors, etc. Okay, so why do we need to pick a niche? Well, a jack of all trades is a master of none. And if you had to go hunt, like you were a hunter and you had to go hunt for dinner, which is who you are and your problem, would you pay more for a Swiss Army knife or a machete? You'd probably pay more for a machete because they solve your problem, right? Let's say you had a heart problem. Would you rather go to a doctor or would you rather go to a heart surgeon? Okay, why do heart surgeons make more than your family doctor? Because they solve specific problems, high value problems for people in need, okay? So how do we pick a niche? We first want to find something that we resonate with and we understand. So what hobbies, past jobs and interests. And the reason we need to do this is because that is going to help us tremendously in our appointments and our sales process. Because, if we hop on a call with somebody and we know nothing about them, it's going to be very hard to get them to trust us. And it's going to be very hard to build a relationship with them. And it's going to be very easy to burn out in an industry like that. So that is why, if I was to restart, going into the hockey industry would probably be a good thing to do because I could hop on a call with a guy who runs a hockey company and I could become friends with him right off the bat, just based on the sport of hockey. Now, once we have a bunch of different potential niches, we want to answer the following questions for every niche, right? Do they serve clients all year long? Ideally, our answer is yes. Do they have money? Ideally, your answer is yes. Can you easily contact the decision maker? So, in a lot of industries like doctors, for instance, like how are you going to contact the doctor? Like if you just call the practice, the front desk receptionist is going to answer and they're not going to let you talk to the doctor, right? So that would be a very hard niche to contact. And the last thing is, do they need help getting clients? Like, are they currently struggling to get clients? Like if your niche typically has a wait list of people, well, then they're probably not going to be very interested in you helping them getting more clients. So I also have a easy SMMA niches to hit 10K a month. I have a guide. It's fully in-depth on exactly how to pick the perfect niche for exactly who you are and exactly, what your business is. Now, this next thing is how to create your SMMA offer. So 95% of agency owners do this wrong. They come up with some crazy guarantee and say, I'll book you 15 appointments in 15 days or you get your money back. And then they struggle to see results. But why? I mean, their offer is good after all. It's because nobody trusts them. It's kind of like a stranger coming up to you on the street and saying, hey, give me $1,000 and I'll come back tomorrow with 10K for you. Would you trust them? Probably not. So therefore, our offer is worthless until we establish trust. Now, I have an in-depth breakdown on how to establish trust with your prospects. Again, I'll put that as a link in the description. But for now, I'll give you the basics. So the best way to establish trust is to create and have case studies. And however, as a beginner, you likely don't have any case studies. So the second best thing that you can do is to create a front-end offer. So what is a front-end offer? A front-end offer is the first thing that you offer to a client. It's kind of like your first date, right? If you went up to somebody on the street and asked them to marry you, well, they'd probably say no. But maybe you could talk them into having a conversation. And then maybe you could propose to have a first date, right? And it's the same thing in the world of business. So usually these are 100% free and carry no risk to your client, okay? So some common front-end offers are a database reactivation campaign. So this is when you send an email/text blast to your clients, old leads, to book them appointments. And this is typically done through a software called Go High Level. Now the pro with this is that it's easy to sell. It's 100% free on both ends. It delivers quick wins, which is going to help you tremendously when you try and convert them from your free front-end offer to your paid back-end offer. But the con is that not all prospects have customer lists. So we want to use database reactivation when your niche offers a B2C service and typically has customer lists, gyms, med spas, etc. The second type of front-end offer that I like to use is a consulting session. So this is when you give your prospect a roadmap/strategy session to help them achieve their desired end result. The pros with this is that it's easy to sell and it's 100% free on both fronts. Another pro with this is that it does have a short sales cycle, right? Like you can hop on a call, do the consulting session and then book a sales call right after. Or on the other one, you have to, set them up. You have to do the database reactivation campaign. You have to wait for them to get results, and then you can talk about the paid offer. But the con is that this really requires extensive knowledge on service delivery and the industry as a whole. It also, another con is that it delivers epiphanies, but doesn't actually deliver them wins, right? It delivers them like, wow, that's a great idea. But it's not like, oh, I just made 10K, right? And the last con is that it requires a case study in order to get off the ground, because you have to have something for your prospects to believe that the consulting advice that you're giving them actually works. Now, this is the one that I used to scale my second agency, but remember, I had all of these cons in my favor in that case. So you can use consulting sessions when you're an expert on your service delivery in the industry, you have the ability to tell great stories, you have the ability to sell, and you have a relevant case study. Now, the last type of common front-end offer is when you do a paid ads free trial. So this is when you can run Facebook or Google ads for free on behalf of your client. And the pro with this is you can deliver quick wins, and it's also an easy transition to your core offer and or service. And the cons with this, though, is that your client has to pay for the ads, right? So somebody has to front like, $300, $400, $500 for the initial ad spend. And then the next con is that it's, because of that, it's going to be the hardest front-end offer to sell, because you do have to sell a $500 service, even though, you're not getting the $500, if that makes sense. So we want to use the paid ads free trial when you do not meet the criteria for the mousetrap consulting
and or database reactivation. So the next thing is, how do we do our outreach? So it does not matter how good your offer is. If you can or cannot sell, how much you do or do not know about service delivery. If you do not do outreach, you will not make money. Remember that, okay? You will not start making money until you do outreach, okay? But I don't know what offers to make, how to sell, or how to get good results with Facebook ads. Now, the goats of our generation became the goats by practicing, not by watching film. Michael Jordan, Connor McDavid, Tom Brady, all the elites in the world of sports did not become elite because they sat there in their bed on their iPad watching YouTube on how to get good at their sport. No, they got good at their sport by playing and practicing relentlessly, okay? You don't expect to get good at push-ups without doing push-ups. So why do you expect to get good at running Facebook ads without running Facebook ads? It makes no sense. The only way you're going to get good at what you do is that if you actually start doing it. But I don't want to screw over my client. Well, that is the risk you're going to have to take, right? That is getting outside your comfort zone. That is the difference between all the people that you are watching on social media who are making 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 grand a month and you. They stepped outside of their comfort zone. They took the risk and they made it happen, okay? So getting into crafting your outreach messages. So there's a story that I like to tell, and it basically revolves around a company that was testing out their new energy drink. This is the energy drink. I just had this on my desk. But anyways, okay, what they did is they went up to people in public and they said, hey, would you like to try out this new energy drink? With that approach, only 10% of people said yes. And that's actually kind of like how most of us do our outreach. We go, hey, I'll guarantee you 15 booked appointments in 30 days or your money back. And they get a very low percentage of people that are interested in that. So what the company did instead, because it was costing too much, they weren't getting the data, and it looked like it was going to be a failure, is they started going up to people and saying, hey, do you consider yourself an adventurous person? Most people are like, yeah, I consider myself an adventurous person. And we go, oh, okay, well, would you like to try out this new energy drink then? And their compliance rate went from 10% up to 80%. And that is the same approach that we want to use with our outreach. We want to start the conversation to open their doors up and get them to align with a problem or desire, and then position our service as the solution or to help them get their desire. So your winning outreach formula. Number one, you're going to send your first message, which is going to be a response-provoking text. Then your first follow-up is going to be a comment on a recent post. Your second message is going to be a pitch. Then if they don't respond to your pitch, you're going to do follow-up one, which is going to be a bump. Follow-up number two, which is when you're going to make a little joke. And follow-up number three, which is going to be your Hail Mary. So your initial message, right? This is when you just want to get a response. It can be like, hey, are you on TikTok? Hey, do you offer 30-minute Cairo sessions? Hey, do you service X type of people? Right? You're just getting the ball rolling. You're just sending a message that they are likely to respond to. And then after you've sent that message, you can drop a comment on one of their recent posts saying, hey, I sent you a quick DM in regards to, whatever it is that they do. Looking forward to hearing from you, smiley face, right? Then when it gets into the pitch, so there's a couple of different pitches that we can do. I'm going to go over two for you guys in this video because it's probably the two best ones that I know of. The first one is a case study. So if you have a case study, whether you worked at a job or you've already worked with clients, whatever it might be, you can say, perfect. Well, I just worked with a client to bring them an extra result in, time frame using a new system I stumbled upon months ago. Can you take on more clients? I'd be happy to show you the system free of charge. Now, if you don't have a case study, here's the next best option for you. And this is when you use the full transparency, right? So when we hop on calls and we don't have clients and we don't have cases, and we don't have all that kind of stuff, eventually we're going to get asked that. And if we get asked that, like if our prospect brings that to the table, we're going to have to play defense in order to wiggle ourselves out of that conversation. And when we don't have what they're looking for, our trust is going to plummet down to the floor. So how do we get around this? Well, we bring this to the table before they do. and we say, hey, full transparency, I'm in the process of building my business, and although my few clients are doing very well, I'm trying to gain trust with other, type of niche you're working with in a world full of claims. Therefore, I wanted to ask if I could work for free to help you get more clients. All I'm looking for is the experience and to bring you value, right? This is how we pitch our front end offer, right? When we hop on a call after we've just said this, they're not going to be like, oh, well, who have you worked with in the past, right? They're not going to say that because they know, and we're coming in with the proper frame. We cannot try and trick people who have been in business for 10 years if we're just getting started, because they know we're not going to trick them. They know they've been pitched before, right? It's not going to work. So that is why you want to be honest, authentic, and I guarantee you this right here will get you more free trial clients than any other outreach framework that you've ever tried before, okay? After you've sent this, if they don't respond, I'm going to go through your follow-up sequence for you right here. Hey, name, just bumping this back up to the top of your inbox. Follow-up number 2. I noticed you left my offer on red. Is it my insert funny characteristic about you? Is it my mustache? Is it my hairstyle? Is it my flamingo shirt that I'm wearing in my profile photo? Whatever it is, right? This is the idea of this, is to show a little bit of personality, show that you're not a bot, get a laugh, and more often than not, this is going to be the follow-up that gets you the most responses. The next follow-up is follow-up number 3, is when you can say, hey, name, I apologize for being persistent. However, I reached out to another business to work for free, and since I want to go all in on just one, out of courtesy, I thought I'd reach out one last time. Either way, I'd appreciate a response. This is what I call the Hail Mary, right? It's when you send one last attempt in order to persuade the person that you are outreaching to. So this is what this process looks like in action. So 2K, look at all these meetings booked. I'm just going to let this go. You can see what happens when you consistently follow this, right? These are people who are sending these messages every single day, and you can see on the right here how much more scrolling there is to do, and this is all within a week's time. I promise you guys this works. So the last thing I want to leave this off with is I'm going to give you the opportunity to avoid the 100+ mistakes that cost me years and thousands. Again, I talked about it earlier, RSC First Client Challenge. I've been making this video. It's actually closed because we only do 100 people at a time, and the first one filled up in just a couple of weeks. However, there is a wait list, or if you're watching this video later on, it might be opened back up again. Either way, check out the link in the description so you can see how that works. That's where you can get your first client in, on average, 13.8 days. You might get in 7, you might get in 21, but that's just the average, right? The next thing is the RSC Discord community. It's 100% free. There's a free course in there. There's a bunch of different stuff in there. I hop in there occasionally to help people out, and then we also do free coaching calls to give people that tactical and custom advice that they're looking for. But with that, I appreciate you for taking a little bit of your time to watch this video. I hope that I 10x the value in return. If I did, hit that subscribe button because I'm going to be dropping many videos like this for y'all in the future. And with that, I hope to see you guys in the comment section of this video and future videos.